Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be making my Tech Marine and Thunderfire cannon. Now, so far, I've taken an old Armyman cannon, kind of like this one here. This one's broken, but I took that, and that cannon that I was originally going to use for my tank, which I decided not to, and make a little mounted, just like kind of bolter type turret instead for the Gretchen to shoot on that orc tank. But so I took that cannon and I cut it into pieces. So glued those cannons on the side of this one, and then I took some 22 shells that had already been fired, and I glued these little caps on them so it looks like they're actual shells. Put a little thingy on the side to hold the 22 shells, so that way it looks like the cannon's got his little ammunition over there on the side, so you can just load them up and fire it away. I took a different Space Marine that I was than the one I was originally going to use, because I decided this one, I don't know, just the way his knee pads and armor and everything looked nifty, and I wanted to make this Tech Marine a little more unique. He doesn't have like mechanical claws coming off of his back and all that shit. Instead, he's got like this is going to be kind of like a scanning device, so he can scan vehicles and stuff for damage, whatever. Put a little bit of stuff there on his backpack, a little pouch or something, I don't know. That way he's got access to whatever things he needs. And then instead of giving him big mechanical claws, I just gave him this huge wrench that I made out of some pieces of metal coat hang wire and that kind of green stuff like material. It's actually gonna be right here. It's JB stick reinforced epoxy. Works pretty good. Probably not quite as well as the green stuff, a little bit harder to work with, and it dries a lot faster from what I can tell. The green stuff takes like, I don't know, a few hours to dry or something like this. This stuff dries in like as soon as it gets cool. So once you knead it together and it gets hot, as soon as it starts to cool off, it starts to dry, so you got to keep kneading it to keep it hot, or else it'll just dry up and get hard, and whatever you're doing kind of fails. But so I went ahead and I made his little wrench out of that stuff. Big old wrench. You can use it like a melee weapon, whatever. I don't know. I don't know if that works in the Codex. I don't think it does. But so it might. I'm not really sure. Oh well, doesn't matter. So got that Space Marine there turned into the Tech Marine. He just needs to get painted up, and the cannon needs to get painted up, and then we'll be all good. So I'm going to go ahead and paint these up. I'm going to do my color scheme a little different on this guy than I normally do. I don't think I'm going to put as much tan on him. He's going to be mostly just probably green and some lighter Ghost Ship gray colors. So I'll go ahead and do that, and I'll be back. Alright, so we're going to do a little trick really quick that I want to show you guys. Take like a toothpick or something. We're going to get a lot of some really thick paint. I'm using a little bit of just some acrylic paint right here. What we're going to do is, now that we got that thick paint on there, touch very carefully and pull up. Touch and pull up. And when you touch and pull up like this, you get a thick point of paint that sticks out. And I'm doing this so that it looks like there's bolts along the shoulders of this guy. You gotta keep making sure, you gotta keep putting that paint on there, make sure that tip of that toothpick is thick with paint. I'm not sure how well you guys can see that, but it gives you a 3D effect. It looks like bolts along the shoulders. I do the same thing. I haven't done it yet. I'm going to go in and do that with my orcs before I wash them on my looted tanks and stuff. So that way it looks like there's bolts in the scrap metal. Yeah, more paint on there. I did this with most of my orc terrain buildings. Wherever I have like scrap metal stuff that looks like it's bolted on, whatever, I do this. So that way it actually looks like it's bolted on. Try to keep all the little nubs and stuff that you're making about the same size. Alright, and that's kind of what it's going to look like, but I don't know how well you see that, but they kind of pop out a little bit so they look like actual little bolts. So that's the little trick I was going to show you. Alright, the Thunderfire Cannon and Tech Marine are all painted up and washed. The wash is mostly dry, just a little bit left. I threw in a little bit of tricks in here just to make it fun. I took some of this brass color and I dipped my brush in that. After I dipped my brush in that, I dipped my brush in the water to get most of the paint off except for a little bit. This stuff's got like these teeny tiny little sparkly metallic pieces in it. So I got most of that off, and then I wiped a lot of the excess off on the paper here, so that way I could do on all those green areas. I don't know how well you can see it, but painted on there, so that way there's a very, very faint kind of goldish brass sparkle only to the green parts on him. So, but that's all nice and painted up now, looking pretty good. They always look better once they're painted. And even though I did a pretty crappy job with the that green stuff type material, that epoxy around the hands, after I painted him and washed him up, I think he looks pretty good. I don't know. I think he looks pretty good. So, that Thunderfire Cannon came out real nice. So, it's looking pretty good. So now I got my Tech Marine and Thunderfire Cannon, and it didn't really cost me nothing. No, not really. Most of the stuff all I had just lying around. Got the little cannon out of the attic. I had the extra Space Marine. So, yeah. Thunderfire Cannon and Tech Marine off Games Workshop, $54, something like that, plus tax. And I just did it probably, as far as how much value I put into this, a couple dollars worth of stuff into this. And we got Thunderfire and Tech Marine. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Comment, please let me know what you think. If anybody else has made any homemade or conversions of a Thunderfire Tech Marine, I'd really like to see them, see how they turned out. So, thanks for watching.